in sample exam 4, 28 part. So 26 we have says the limit as h approaches 0 of tangent of 2 times x plus h minus tangent 2x all over h. So this one, again, we can't put h in here as a 0 because we'd have 0 on the bottom. So we just need to recognize that this is essentially a derivative here. We're putting the x plus h and the x into a function, and on the bottom we have h. So with that said, the function here should be tangent 2x. We're putting x plus h into that function and then x into that function. And so ultimately, we need to find the derivative of this function. And notice it's in terms of x, so it's not at a particular point. So we just need the derivative of tangent 2x. So we know that the derivative of tangent 2x is secant squared 2x times the derivative of 2x. So ultimately 2 secant squared 2x. And if you look at our choices there, it should be choice D. What else? 1 through 28. Okay, on number 27 we have a graph given here of the y equals sine x over 2 function, and we want to know what is the area of the shaded region below, and ultimately it's going to be an integral, as we know. So if we set up our integral with that integrand, notice they don't give us any units on the x-axis, so our key issue is making sure we can figure out what the limits are here. Well, we know sine of 0 is 0 here. Taylor, you grab the door. And then we just need to figure out what is that x-intercept for that function. And ultimately we know that 1/2 would make the period bigger. The period is going to be 2 pi over b, b being 1/2 here, our period would be 4 pi. So that means that one branch there would be from 0 to 2 pi. And if we do the antiderivative here, I would suggest using our u substitution process, since the argument here isn't just x. So our derivative here of u would be 1/2 dx, and if we make 2 du here, that would be equal to dx, so we could substitute and get sine of u du, bring our half out in front. Not half, right, 2 out in front, so 2 out in front. And if we anti-differentiate, we're going to get derivative of, or antiderivative of sine would be negative cosine u. And put our half x in there again.
It was the outline the second part was. Whoever does that.
Alright, so again, putting our 2 pi in here, if we put 2 pi in times a half, the cosine of pi, cosine of pi is negative 1. So negative negative 1 would be 1. Cosine of 0 we know is 1, but we have a negative there, so it would be minus negative 1. And so with that said, we'd have 2 times 2, which would be 4. Correspond with letter C. Questions on that one? Others, 1 through 28? Connor? 28 gives us the graph of a derivative f. Says that f of negative 2, or f of 2 is negative 3, then what is f of 4? Okay. So we get a couple of different options here. Number one option is if we have this, if we want to find f of 4 here, if we took our f function, or f prime function that is, and we wrote an antiderivative for it, which using the initial condition here, we could write 2 to t and then put a minus 3 out here. So that would be an expression for the antiderivative of f. And ultimately, if we want to know f of 4, then we put our 4 in there. We need the area under the curve from 2 to 4 minus 3. And we can see that from 2 to 4 it would be a trapezoid. And that trapezoid would be 1/2 times 2. The two bases would be 2 and 3. be 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bottom line here is that would be a linear function. Could we write an equation for that line and then anti-differentiate the linear equation we find? Would that be another option? Sure. So we could actually find an equation for this line too and do it that way. Which way is better? Both. What else? 1 through 28.
Wait, could you do it that way?
What would be the equation then?
Find the slope and then put it in the slope line here.
Right?
And
So we can see the slope is rise 1, run 2, right? So would it be just a half x plus 1? So antiderivative would be a half times x squared over 2 plus x plus c. And if we put our initial condition in there, 2, negative 3. So if we put our initial condition negative 3 here, 2 in here is going to give us 4 on top. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times a half is 1. And then 2 here. We got 3 here, ultimately negative 6 BRC then. So it'll be 1 half x squared plus x minus 6. And if we put a 4 in here, we're going to get 16 times a half would be 8. And we're adding a 2 to that, right? Or a 4 to that. So 4 minus 6. And that's not 2 though. Where's my 4? Oh, there we are. There we are. So 2 in there give us 16 still, or excuse me, 4 in there give us 16. So this would be 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 minus 6 is